I'm a bit ashamed to say this, but it wasn't that long ago that I was too reasonable. Too reasonable in my negotiations with clients, too reasonable with my negotiations with prospective tenants, too reasonable in how I spoke with my wife, my friends, other parts of my family. Too reasonable, meaning I was too concerned about what they were going to think about me. Am I still going to be their friend? Will this person I've been with for 15, 16 years decide that she no longer wants to be with me because I'm speaking my mind? And let me tell you, I was completely wrong. It's completely wrong about all of that. And the moment I made the decision, the very direct, intentional decision to just tell people what they needed to hear, when they needed to hear it, across all facets of my life, was the moment that everything that I said and did became more impactful. So, as an example of this, when I was working with clients, I was somewhat afraid to tell them the bad news, especially during the crash. I'm here. I'm supposed to be giving you support. I'm supposed to be leading you towards confidence. And what I was doing to them was softballing everything. Well, the market's getting better, or the property will eventually rent, instead of giving them the information that they needed to hear. Here's the feedback about your property. Here are the things that you need to work on. Your price way too high. If we don't make a shift, this is what's going to happen. When I decided to actually tell people what they needed to hear and give them the information that they needed to be successful in a very direct way without all the fluff, people started seeing results, me specifically, and my clients also. So I said, hey, look, you're priced too high for this market. Here's where you need to do. Your property needs these upgrades. This is what you need to do. We need to position your property at this time to make sure that we maximize the results. You have your tenants are not taking care of their property and they're making it hard to show. Obviously, that was pre-COVID. But my point is, the moment I started doing that, not only was my impact resonating with my clients, but they were also realizing a significant, positive, direct impact in their pocketbook, in their bottom line, because rent started coming in. Their properties were priced right. Their properties were renting faster and for more money than their neighbors or other people on Craigslist or Zillow. It was awesome. I also took this into my negotiations with prospective tenants. And in my area, I work with people who have high-paying jobs. They're high-powered positions across all industries: technology, insurance, real estate, finance. These people do millions and billions of dollars worth of business every single year for their respective firms or businesses. And I was able to negotiate with them on a level that was real to create results. I no longer wanted to be reasonable with them. I wanted to be unreasonable with my approach so that they could get the information that they needed so that they can make a decision based on black and white, not fluff or anything murky. So they knew what they were going into. The results were that I had more people sign up. The leases were not marked up. They weren't negotiated as heavily. Sure, there were questions, but those questions got answered. The other byproduct of this was that those tenants who entered those properties eyes wide open. They knew exactly what to expect from their owners. They knew exactly what to expect from us as property managers. They knew exactly what to expect from the properties, and they were happier, and it created a positive influence and a positive result for them long term. Now, how does this apply to a DIY landlord who is renting their own property? Well, I'll tell you. There are going to be opportunities the moment you put your property on the market. It becomes public. You're going to be dealing with the public. You've taken a very valuable asset and you're putting it out there for the public. And that's going to bring in all types of people with different personalities, different socioeconomic backgrounds, and they're going to want to speak to you and they're going to want to get clarity onto what's happening, and they're going to make requests. And it doesn't mean you need to be unreasonable and be a jerk to them, but you do need to be unreasonable to the extent that you need to know and be clear on your results and what you want and why you're making that decision. So if someone asks you for blinds, you don't need to say yes, but if it means that that makes your property more worthwhile, more valuable long term, you may want to consider that. Also, knowing the result that you are going to want from the tenant will actually allow you to have a better relationship with them long term. So I want you to think about this every time you make a decision about your property. There are going to be a lot of people that tell you, hey, be reasonable. You don't need property management, or maybe you do. Be reasonable. You don't need to make this upgrade. Your property will rent without it. Or you don't need to make this repair. It's not important right now. Or you can be unreasonable and make decisions about your property, about your rental income, and about your rental business that will greatly influence how it's going to perform today, next year, and years going forward, and how you will be able to make more money from tenants that stay in your property, on a property that's well maintained, and on a property that is always in good repair, on a property that looks better than other rental properties or doesn't look like a rental property compared to other ones that are on the market. So consider these things. Now, we go into detail about all of this in our $1 Million Mindset method that we are going to be teaching in the Landlord course. That's Landlord Code course that will be dropping in March. The founding members waitlist is still open. I encourage anybody who wants to elevate their DIY landlord game to sign up. We are going to be giving a nice discount on the initial Landlord Code course. In addition, we are going to be dropping something very special, once in a lifetime event for this course. So I encourage anybody who's interested in learning more about creating a problem-free, predictable, and profitable rental business to join up. Now, tomorrow at 11 a.m., we will be going into detail and answering the questions that we did not get to for our training from last week on SB 91. This is California legislation around the COVID-related tenant protections and financial hardships and how landlords are dealing with that. So if you missed anything from last week, you can watch the replay. If you watched the replay or were on live last week, you can come tomorrow and ask questions. It's going to be great information. We won't have Barrett Schaefer there, but we will be able to talk to you directly live. All right, everybody, have a great Wednesday. And if you haven't thought about it, Freak Out Friday, we're still looking for submissions for Freak Out Friday. So if you have a submission on a weird tenant interaction and how that positively or negatively impacted you, I want to hear about it. We are giving away caffeine. Everybody loves caffeine. All right, I'll see you tomorrow.